was the objective with Chase tonight, and just what you see out of 9 pitches?
Yeah, I mean, was to get 10 or less pitches and to get 2 outs, and not everything else went to plan. I know that sounds like we hit the nail on the head there, but was just to get him out there and in-game action, but have him fresh so we can regroup and plan what we want to do the rest of the weekend. I mean, Bernsey will start game 1, and then we'll go from there on exactly what Doe's role is and how he, again, you map out plan A for the rest of the weekend, and that's happened about 0 times since we've been here, but at least we kind of established what we wanted to do, and I think it was a good step for him.
Do you think Dollander could start this weekend, or?
It's potential. I mean, it's an option. So I know he's a guy too, after starts, not after relief appearances. You check in with him the next day, and sometimes he feels great, sometimes he feels sore. So he'll definitely start again before the season's over, I can tell you that. But we'll kind of regroup tomorrow. I know that's not a great answer, but with it being talking about the series already on a Tuesday night, we're short on time for stuff like that.
You talk a lot about marching to May, and this year with kind of school calendar being different, does that mindset change any?
I don't think so. I think you want to build up some steam as it relates to lessons learned, confidence from certain situations, get guys more settled into roles, start to really have a true team image of who you are, and you shouldn't go too far outside of that, whether it's a night like tonight where you're fortunate enough to have a lot more runs than the other team, or if it's you're down 3 runs against Auburn. So I think that's what it means to get to that spot. And then 2, the academic calendar is different, but you have a good memory. The big thing is, as a college athlete, you want to get to May because school ends, the weather's great. In our conference in particular, you stay in incredible hotels, or very nice hotels, I should say. You get fed well, media coverage kicks up, Hoover's insane. So, we're all that's going to happen. We do have finals a week later. I know some professors will just have it on the last class day, but Megan does a great job at organizing those guys. So I think it's a similar deal that we had last year, and it's nice to get off to a good start to this month. And you don't want to wish your life away during the season, but it's a good spot to be in right now, is in May.
You all broke the program record for single-season home runs. Just to watch your team accomplish it in as little amount of games as they did compared to the 1998 team, I mean, how cool is that to see for you that they're, just smacking them out of the ballpark like that?
Yeah, no, it's good feedback for them. I mean, one of these days when they're around their grandkids or whoever, they'll see that records are made to be broken. And there's also different circumstances for everybody. I mean, Coach Elander can hit it further than any of these guys still today, all of them. But my first year being around him, they changed the bats. And you could be Manny Ramirez or anybody else, and it was pretty dang hard to hit a home run is what I'm getting at. So different circumstances change and ballparks you play in. And I think, if anything, if we were really to stand here and argue about how they got that, we played a wood bat game. Kyle Booker's went 3 for 3 with 3 home runs. The only problem is one went out of the park because of the way the wind played, and you could say the same for Ensley's ball tonight. And it works the other way too. Some of our guys got some that just went over the wall, and it happened to be the direction the wind was blowing. So I think it's good feedback for our guys, something they can hang their hat on down the road. But overall, just we want to have good at-bats, and I think it's a byproduct of that.
Do you anticipate this team putting up these types of power numbers?
I think a little bit because of the work in the weight room and the cages. And then I'd say the other, combo in that whole deal is having good athletes. I mean, we're blessed with guys, you ask them to do something and they can make the adjustment relatively quickly. And it's not like we got any magic sauce with hitting, but it applies to those type of guys too. I mean, they can get in the cage here on their own and start to figure out what's a better way, to square up the baseball. And then we have good facilities and a bunch of coaches that are willing to help the kids, so repetitions. I mean, father of learning is repetitions or something. Somebody smart said it, something like that. So you saw the potential. Now how many or how less, who knows. And again, circumstances have a little bit to do with that.
Tony, when you talk about going from Friday, Saturday, Sunday to a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, how much does that really change things? I mean, maybe for the pitchers as much as anything, or does it really change much at all?
Yeah, I think it, pinches both teams the same way. So anything that's there, you should be on a level playing field. And if there's something someone feels real negative, then it's up to you as a player or a team or a coach to, just spin it into a positive. Scouting report stuff, you got one less day to do it. Well, maybe just be more efficient with your time and don't waste time. So anyway, you got it the same on both sides. And unless you had a pitcher go like 115 pitches or 120 pitches the weekend before, or someone else out of the bullpen get really taxed, then it really shouldn't make much of a difference. It'll be mano a mano for a couple teams in our league on Thursday night, and why wait around for Friday? Thursday night ball is a good thing.
You need that fourth starter in the postseason because of that, and the four guys that you have. You feel like maybe the conversation of who doesn't start these next 3 weekends of the regular season is maybe being overblown, and the objective is just to have all four of those guys ready for the postseason instead?
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to have that conversation if you're in our office or you guys are writing a story, or for the fans that are, now we have loyal fans that want to chat about us. That's a 98% good thing. It can be a 2% bad thing, but I think it's a great conversation. But I think what we got going on in the clubhouse, probably from the leadership, is what's the next thing we got to do? And if you look at this weekend in particular, we've got a guy in Blade who's still building up his pitch count, and you've also got a guy in Chase where he's just coming off something, and we used him on a Tuesday night. So neither one of those guys is expected to or is going to be really capable of going out there and giving you 8 innings as a start. So we'll roll with it this weekend, and then we'll see what's going on the next weekend too. But you're right. Just ask Camden Sewell, last year in the SEC tournament. And then two, we've been in other situations, where you could use those guys. Been fortunate enough to win a couple regionals out of the losers bracket. Really, you kind of need 5 starters. And I think Xander's proven he can start a game with composure and with strikes. And then I'll come back to that name, Camden Sewell. I got no problem with him starting a game of any magnitude if we have to.
Any extra excitement heading into the weekend, considering y'all get a chance to clinch the SEC East?
No, I didn't know that till you told me. Maybe they have that. I think they're more interested in Sono tacos right now in there. But I think, it's bad to say this, I think, because you need to get hyped up for these weekends. They're so excited. I mean, look at all the stuff that went on last weekend. It was everyone just called it hard fought, and it was. 2 postseason teams that are pretty good, and I expect similar this weekend. I think if there's any heightened sense of anything, it's a divisional opponent. And so there's a lot of familiarity, and you're wanting to win your division. But at the end of the day, I've kind of followed their lead, and it's kind of been what's the next thing we got in front of us. And, to be honest with you, the next thing we got in front of us is you got to go to class, you got to pack, we got to lift, and we got to get up there. But once we get up there, it'll be fun. One of many places in our league where they've spent a ton of money, and it's a really nice facility, similar surface to ours, which will be good. There'll be some familiarity. And one of the things I'd kill to go back in time and do as a player is do those night practices before the series starts. It's just there's a heightened sense of everything, and it's a lot of fun.
Is there something to be said for having the opportunity to do that with 3 weeks left?
I think what these guys have done is, kind of roll success over. You can't roll over minutes sometimes on your phone or whatever, but they've kind of rolled success over, and it counts. I mean, you've got stuff in your back pocket that's useful down the road. It's kind of bought us leeway. I mean, you can look at this game however you want to, but I know the coaches standing next to me would agree. We did some risky stuff in this game, where you put yourself out there and easy. If something doesn't go right, where you could be asking me different questions like, how are you going to explain that, to the fans if you lose or something doesn't go well. So, For me, I think it's a positive that our guys are in that spot, but more than anything, next task, we got to do it as well as we can, and we should be able to do it in a different, type of manner than in February, because there have been some great lessons learned, especially last weekend.
2 more guys. What have you seen from Kentucky that might pose some challenges for y'all this weekend?
Their starters throw strikes, and then their hitters. I haven't looked at all the scores, but just based off some things I know, and we know a lot of guys on the roster because it is close in proximity. There's some recruiting, lapping over there. It seems like when the offense gets going, they're capable of doing some explosive things. But again, divisional opponent, really, it could be any SEC team. There's going to be a little extra juice to everything. So people are capable of doing things that maybe you wouldn't earmark. I mean, last weekend, homeboy hit a pretty big home run after we walked Sonny, and he doesn't have as many as Sonny. So anything can happen at any moment, and that's why if you are watching an SEC game, you shouldn't go to the restroom unless it's in between innings.
Any concern about maybe not playing to the standard with everything that you all have pretty much locked up? I know you weren't aware of the SEC East fact and #1 seed in the tournament and all that fun stuff, but any concern about maybe not playing to the standard?
Yeah. I think tonight base running wasn't to the standard. I mean, there was a couple goofy mistakes, or like the Blake thing. If you got a guy like Seth Stevenson at third, let that guy wreak havoc in that situation. I don't need to revisit them all, but I think as a coaching staff, we're not paranoid or anything, but you're on your toes to make sure, hey, it's a divisional opponent. We got some good scouting info. Pay attention to it. Make sure you get your preparation in the right way. When you're on the road, you're always kind of on your toes, or have a heightened awareness of we need to get them fed the right way. Sleep is important. So I think performance is tough to say. I mean, anyone tries to duplicate what went on Friday when just kind of it exploded for us is crazy. I think what's more realistic is you're in some games like Saturday. We talked about muck and grind. There's going to be one of those every weekend, and then there's going to be one that's really tight for whatever reason. It always seems to be on Sundays. You look at our last 2 game 3s, you might as well wait till the 9th inning to check out the scoreboard, because it's probably going to come down to that, in one of those games. So that's kind of the way I see it.